And by breaking the agreement to say this is this and that is that, you fall into the reality that just says, no, this is not that. And then you see things. Oh, yeah, that's what I do when I do when I'm doing my naturopathic healing, and I infuse my ability to see and read with what they need. And sometimes on the phone, I can listen to their voice, and they say, hello, hello, are you there? Are you there? And I go into this place where I hear what's going on, because the voice has within it little conversations going on, and I'm hearing them in their voice talking to other people, and I hear the pain from the organ that is causing the problem, and I'm saying, well, what am I tuning into? I don't know what I'm listening to, but I can tell the person, well, your liver's got problems, and this is blah blah. And they say, well, oh yeah, well the doctor said that my liver was. That's how you know that? I don't know. And I don't want to be like the white man and say, well, due to my ventricular centricular and down my centricular supula, I don't give a shit. If I can help you, based on what gifts I have of being able to go into what I call my still point. That's the place you find it. That's where you go. That's where you go. Exactly. That's where your thoughts no longer control you and keep what you think to be the reality in place. See, it's the thought process that maintains the agreement. And if you stop thinking along the track of the agreement, or if you keep reading the contract off and saying, okay, you are supposed to see brown as this color, you are supposed to see this shape as this. Once you stop the agreement, you fall into a place and see, that happens when you dream. When you sleep and dream, there's no more agreement. You can fly, you can do whatever the hell you want.
Absolutely right.
Exactly. There's no more agreements. There's no stay. You go back to where you can really, really operate as yourself.
I wanted to finish this.
I did. It's on tape.
You missed it.
Well, yes, tell us the difference between the 6 and the 9, though. I mean,
okay, well, you see, within this 12-strand DNA, the 6 and the 6, they said, Jimi Hendrix spoke about something, say if 6 were 9. That's his song. Well, essentially, it's the same thing. Within the 6-strand DNA that is coupled with the other side 6-strand DNA, together you get the 12. Within that 6 and that 12 is the 9. What he is finding, and what they're finding in these people, is the fact that we were degenerated by 3 specific strands, which is that capstone on the pyramid that was separated from the rest of the pyramid. That 3 represents the closed circuit of consciousness that was with the God consciousness that separated us from the total pyramidal energies, which is 6-sided. You see in the pyramid, that separation of the pyramid is the separation of us from our total selves. You see, all this representing the 6 and the 9.
Which together bring 12. Which ultimately is what you said it's going to be.
Yeah, exactly. You now have 9. Right. Now this past 3 here, which is the elusive part of ourselves, which is what is known as the triune self, the knower, the thinker, and the doer. When these all come together with the physical body and become one and tuned in.
no, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
I'm just getting a piece of chalk.
Or become one and tuned in. Then that I, that is the all-seeing eye, which is the seed cell within the physical body, which is the all-seeing eye of the first eye, the pineal, that begins to awaken. This is known as, and because it is seen as the Holy Ghost, to show you when the Holy Ghost comes down, it has tongues of fire on top of your head. Well, you see, the reason for that is once you begin to pull together all of the energies necessary to make you the whole being, you raise the Kundalini through the 7 chakras, again, trapped within that 7 cycle. You raise the Kundalini through the 7 chakras, and then you, at the base of the medulla oblongata, that's where that is, you cross affliction, crucifixion. You cross affliction, which means to increase, Crucifixion doesn't mean to kill, it means to increase. And when that fuel, which represents the Jesus energy, which is what that fuel that you save when you don't sex yourself, you raise that energy, crossing at that space, at the period right here, which is called place of the skull in the Bible, or Golgotha, or Calvary. In Greek, Calvary means skull. I mean Golgotha. And in Calvary, the same thing. You cross over the barren land, which is the place that separates you into ignorance. And you cross over and you light the pineal, which is the lamp of God that taketh away the sins of the world.
Ah, okay. All right.
All right? So when you're looking at all of this, it's fine for what it means. You know, we're supposed to see the higher consciousness, but what are we going to do? What is still left within us? What remains atrophied? What has become comatose within the body that we need to reawaken? And that is, we need to shut down half of our sexual energy so that we can raise that energy into lamping, instead of coming down here. You know, your father said, you can't use both heads at the same time. It's either the little head, which gives you little knowledge, or the big head, which gives you the bigger knowledge, or the wider space of the knowledge. So this is it. Yeah, well, definitely the little head takes away your knowledge, because after that, you're going to sleep.
Yeah.
Right? The big head, once you don't do that, you awaken to the higher self. If you can bring that sperm back up, in through the vesicles, through the sun plexus or your solar plexus, which then raises the light through the lamp of God that taketh away the sins. The sins meaning the ignorance of the world.
That's right.
Do you think that that's why the Catholic Church, they say that the men should
Not marry.
not marry?
Yeah, well, you see, but it's too. We're in a time when everything's going in the toilet. It's nice to have it back then because they were trying to imitate a time in Kemet. Yeah, but no, it ain't gonna work because you're nothing but pedophiles and homosexuals.
Exactly.
You know, how you gonna put an animal in there to act like? I mean, you can get a monkey to walk upright, but it's still gonna act like a monkey one day down the line. Yes, brother.
Okay. I wanted you, if you could, elaborate on another concept. Both Dr. Calvin Robinson, when I asked him about that, this is the brother who introduced me to this research, Dr. Calvin Robinson. And also Professor Lebo gave some insight on this. But the Earth, which is on a 24-degree axis, the sun, and I'll just sun here. But as the Earth goes around the sun, the rays of the sun hit the Earth along the equator most directly.
Yes.
You know, hit it.
Yeah.
And the Earth, of course, Africa.
Right.
The equator passes directly through the center.
Through the center of Africa, yes.
Africa.
Which is
And-
directly below, essentially, right there, where they found the higher strands.
Right. And also, Africa sits in the center of
Yes.
the Earth. So that the rays of the sun, life rather, is in the rays of the sun. If you block off the rays of the sun from hitting anything, it dies.
Yes.
If you put a blanket over grass where the sun can't hit it, it dies. There can be no life
Without the sun.
So life is in the rays of the sun.
Exactly.
So if you have the rays of the sun hitting the earth most directly along the equator, and Africa, is the equator passes through the middle of Africa, then you will maximize the potential, or you will maximize the environment for sustaining life and any evolutionary process of life, because you have the maximum life rays hitting the earth. And that has something to do with humans evolving in Africa, and this continuity of human life reflected in Africa and reflected in the 9 or the 12 strands of DNA, which is his explanation for why you have 9 series of DNA within Africans. The rays of the sun is diminished,
Yeah, on that trajectory, yes.
Yeah, they don't hit the earth as directly as they do in the